All right, 7:34 now, and President Trump's new spending bill sets aside $100 million for additional ICE enforcement, which will likely increase the number of migrant arrests. That number has topped 100,000 since Trump took office. ICE agents breaking a record this week, arresting nearly 2,400 undocumented migrants on Wednesday alone. That is almost double the previous daily average.
You know, the Trump administration is aiming to make 3,000 arrests a day, and recently a lot of those arrests have been taking place right inside federal court. Joining us this morning is Brooklyn City Councilwoman and Chair of the Immigration Committee, Alexa Aviles, to discuss what's being done to protect migrants. So good morning to you, Councilwoman. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation.
So let's talk about this. You were at Federal Plaza yesterday, recently launched ICE Watch and accompaniment. So what exactly is that, and how does it help against this new surge?
Yeah, thank you so much. So yesterday, a group of state and city elected officials, along with members of community organizations that have been on the ground, essentially go to immigration court, and we talk to people who are there, who are generally without legal representation, who don't know their rights, who are particularly vulnerable. So we talk to them about their rights. We attempt to accompany them out of the building. And what we saw was truly, truly horrific.
You know, it's just a few weeks ago, last month, we saw Controller Brad Lander. He was forcibly taken into custody while escorting someone from a federal migrant hearing. Do we have any sense of how many more people have been arrested while leaving these hearings in the city?
You know, we're hundreds, if not thousands. And what we're learning is that, you know, these are people who are in process, in a legal proceeding, who have due process, and yet ICE is detaining them in very violent ways, unnecessarily, unlawfully. It is a very, very bad situation in the courts.
Have you been able to speak with any of those folks who were detained?
So what's happening is once a person is detained, they are often moved through the system very quickly. In fact, in a matter of days, they could end up in 2 or 3 different prisons. Generally, they move very quickly to Pennsylvania, to Louisiana, to Texas. It seems like the name of the game is to get people as far away from legal representation and access to supports as possible.
Well, then it's probably very difficult for family members to keep track of where they are.
And that's part of it. This is a shock and awe. This is a way to strip people from their dignity. And that's what they're doing right now. And it's very difficult. We have programs of support, but it's very difficult when you can't find someone for days on end, when they're being moved all around a system and in just arbitrary and strange ways.
You know, hard for families to stay in touch, but I imagine, too, even the system itself is not able to track in real time just where these people are landing and what their future might be. Have we heard of any detainees being released at any point?
Well, very few. In fact, what we're also hearing and seeing is that there is detainments happening in 26 Federal Plaza in awful condition facilities. Federal Plaza is not a detainment facility, and yet we hear there are hundreds of people in squalor, in rooms without access to bathrooms and showers, unable to change. So what we are seeing here is just, you know, utter lawlessness, breaking of so many laws. This is really a bad situation.
So these detainments obviously happening when they appear in person. So what are the possibilities of these hearings being held virtually to prevent these types of detainments?
Yeah, so we are helping to inform people, many who do not have legal representation and don't know kind of the contours of the law, to request remote hearings, virtual hearings. Some are being granted, some are being denied, but certainly a remote hearing is much safer because what we saw yesterday was truly arbitrary, unlawful detainments.
You know, many who might be watching this might have hearings coming up themselves and might be nervous about going in. How can they contact you all for more support?
Yeah, thank you so much. It is a very difficult situation, I will say, or people should reach out to organizations on the ground like the New York Immigration Coalition or Jews for Economic and Racial Justice, Make the Road New York. There are many organizations on the ground who can try to provide connection to legal support and information. And if you have friends and family, share your information with them so that we can track you and try to bring witness to what is happening in the courts. And we invite, these are public proceedings. What we see is horrific. Masked men, highly armed, very violent, very aggressive for people who are following the law.
Yeah, and with the passing of this GOP spending bill, I'm sure the fear and uneasiness is increasing. Councilwoman Aviles, thank you so much for all of your information this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.